I'm completely surprised. I'm stumped. This is not what I expected. So, for the time being, I'm assuming that I'm wrong. My reading was completely wrong. Congress is saying is right that the verdict has been stolen. It should be examined, investigated. Elections should be fair and should be seen to be fair.
First of all, the obvious question, ना तो सुनामी, ना आंधी और हवा भी दूसरी तरफ ही बह गई. What sense do you make out of these numbers, sir? BJP got 48, Congress 37, and 3 seats to others, 4 seats to other, two INLD and three independent. What sense do you make out of these numbers, sir?
I'm completely surprised. I'm stumped. This is not what I expected. I have been, although I refuse to make any seat forecast, but I have been saying almost for 1 month that Congress, this particular election is pre-decided, that Congress was ahead, that no matter what the number of total seats, Congress is going to form the government. And I was saying this on the basis of three things. Number one, that Congress or BJP always performs worse in assembly elections compared to its performance in Lok Sabha. This is what happened in 2014 and 19. And in 2024, because in the Lok Sabha they were neck and neck, unlike 14 and 19, BJP coming down from there would have automatically meant BJP losing the election. Second, I had traveled extensively in the state. And on the basis of my travels, I was convinced, my ground sense was that everywhere, anyone I spoke to thought and believed that Congress was coming to power, that BJP was losing substantially below where it had reached in 2024. And third, finally, it was vindicated by all the exit polls. As you would know, not a single exit poll gave a figure to the Congress party less than a majority figure. Even the lower bound was not less than majority. Now, all this is not a sufficient proof. You can go wrong. I can certainly go wrong. Exit polls do go wrong. And I had myself celebrated exit polls going wrong. That just makes you feel, well, it's counterintuitive. It's very different from what I saw on the field. However, this evening, the Congress party has held a press conference where unusually for a national party, they have said that they cannot accept this outcome. Now, this is different from what has happened in this country. Usually in our country, you lose an election, you crib, you do whatever, and you say, thank you, best wishes to the person who's won the election, and we move on. However, Congress says this is not acceptable. They have given some proof. They have written to the Election Commission. They are writing further. And they are saying by tomorrow they want to produce proof from Mahendragarh, from Panipat, from Hisar. To my mind, this is serious stuff. And it should be responded to. It should be investigated. At the moment, I would not take sides. I would not say, therefore, what Congress is saying is right, that the verdict has been stolen. But it's a very serious and unusual allegation. And the least we can say is that it should be examined, investigated. Elections should be fair and should be seen to be fair. Election Commission of India has been less than forthcoming in making things public. And this is not just Haryana election. In the general election as well, all kinds of questions came up, and Election Commission had nothing to say about those questions. They would either stonewall, or as and when Election Commission responded, it responded in the language of opposition parties, as if it had a fight with Congress party, it had a fight with India Alliance, and so on and so forth. I really wanted, wish and hope that Election Commission would respond to these questions very sensibly. So for the time being, I'm assuming that I'm wrong. My reading was completely wrong. But this question needs to be investigated. Otherwise, Congress may lose, tomorrow BJP may lose. But this country's electoral process must not lose. That's what we need to keep sanctity of.
If you know, if you are asked to pinpoint certain areas where Congress lagged, what would be those key points you can think of right now?
I'm saying all this on the assumption, while bracketing the first question. The first, I'm assuming for the time being in answering this question that the outcome reflects popular verdict. Outcome reflect popular preferences. We have to assume it, otherwise we cannot analyze the elections. So the questions raised by Congress party are bracketed for the moment, and I'll answer your question based on that assumption. Uh, to my mind, the reason why most of us and exit polls may have missed an undercurrent is because that undercurrent may pertain to a question which is a very sensitive question in Haryana, which is the question of caste dominance. The BJP has made very overt, systematic attempts to cultivate, to create, to foment this question of 35A, as it is called in Haryana. 35 communities on the one hand, and one community, namely the Jats, on the other. And it's been quite an aggressive campaign by BJP on this question. And BJP has been communicating to the voters to say, look, if Congress comes back, it's going to be rule of one community, one district, one family. Uh, I noticed it in my fieldwork, but I felt that maybe this is not catching that kind of attention. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe the question had more purchase than we imagined it had. And it is possible that Congress's internal dissensions, Shaljaji's open disaffection, may have contributed to the same narrative because underlying Shaljaji's protest was also a caste question. She did not articulate it in this sense, but underlying was that notion. And when a Congress non-Jat leader asks a question, expresses her displeasure, it contributes and reaffirms the narrative that the BJP wanted to set. So that may have helped. That is the only big thing that I can think of. I know that once someone wins an election, everyone can find 100 reasons because the usual tendency is that the winner got everything right. So they would tell you that all the BJP candidates were good, Congress candidate selection was poor, etc. That may well be the case in some specific instances, but I don't know if all that was the case. Because remember, finally, in the last instance, the difference between Congress and the BJP is not even 1%. It's 0.5% when I saw it last. So with 0.5% difference, you cannot say that the one who was ahead by 0.5% got everything right. Uh, yes, BJP made some moves towards the end, which proved helpful. The appointment of Naib Singh Saini was helpful. I personally thought it was too late, but it clearly has helped them stem the tide. BJP's candidate selection was smart. They were bold enough not to nominate many of their sitting MLAs, bold enough not to nominate persons of the stature of Ramvilas Sharma, to say, you're not going to win the election, we won't nominate you. Now, that takes courage and bold thinking. BJP has displayed that. So all that could have helped the BJP, could have created a situation where what was apparent on the ground may not have translated. But as I said, I'm saying all this on the assumption that the results that we have seen are true results.
Do you agree with the fact and this narrative that Hooda family, specifically Bhupinder Singh Hooda and Dipinder Hooda, overpowered, captured the entire Congress campaign, and this, sent out a wrong message to rest of the Haryana which is far from Rohtak and this area?
As I said, the narrative of the BJP was exactly this: one district, one caste, one family. So I know once they lose, all guns would be trained on them. And it is quite true that in the media, the reporting was that Mr. Hooda got 72 tickets out of 90. I don't know where the figure came from, but the figure of 72 was
Yeah.
flaunted. And that is a figure that would be used. That was an impression that was created. And this would clearly be a setback for Mr. Hooda, particularly with the senior Hooda. This would be a serious setback to him. At the same time, I think it is also true that he kept the party on the ground for 10 years. 10 years out of power and for the party to survive is not an easy thing. That's what Mr. Huda did. And for that, especially when someone has lost, that is also the day to remember their strength. Mr. Huda kept the party going at that time. That was his strength. But yes, there was a perception that he was domineering. And that may not have helped in many critical constituencies, especially his decision to ensure renomination of all the sitting MLAs. That may not have helped the party.
What next for Congress and what next for BJP from here on after this turnaround, after this victory which was not expected from BJP?
Well, what next is very clear. Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Uh, if Congress had won today's election in Haryana, then J&K and Haryana put together, Congress would have gone with a certain confidence. Congress would have had the momentum. Uh, Voting in Haryana does not directly affect voting in Jharkhand or Maharashtra, but it does affect the morale of the work. So Congress would have gone with better morale, with momentum, and overall national mood. All these three things suffer because of this for the Congress today. J&K result is not enough to counter the setback of Haryana because Haryana would be seen to be more of a reflection of the national mood than J&K. And therefore, yes, Congress starts this journey on a back foot this time. National mood would be BJP has been on the back foot for 4 months now after the national election. This gives the BJP just the right opportunity to drum up its support, to present it as Mr. Modi's victory, although Mr. Modi had almost nothing to do with the Haryana election. But it would be presented as that. Now, this is norm of the game, rules of the game. This is how the game is normally played. And the BJP would be able to argue, to say and suggest that, Lok Sabha election was a bit of a blip. Now we are back. To my mind, the question now gets passed on to Jharkhand and Maharashtra. If BJP does manage to win both Maharashtra and Jharkhand, then yes, BJP will be able to regain some of the narrative, some of the political dominance that it has lost. But if Maharashtra and Jharkhand vote against the BJP, everyone would forget Maharashtra, everyone would forget Haryana, and will move on.
सर, डू यू थिंक नायब सैनी को लाने से बीजेपी ने एंटी इनकम्बेंसी का फैक्टर को निगेट किया, विमेन रेसलर्स का इशू था उसको निगेट किया, फिर अग्निवीर का जो इशू था उसको निगेट किया, फार्मर्स प्रोटेस्ट को निगेट किया? क्या एक ये जो था ओबीसी वोट बैंक को कैटर करने के लिए, और जैसे कि आपने कहा कि पीएम मोदी की तस्वीर नहीं थी होर्डिंग्स पे, जो बेनिफिशियरी थे उनकी तस्वीर थी, कहीं ना कहीं इसका कितना बड़ा इम्पैक्ट हुआ जो 35 बिरादरी को एक साथ लाके अपने फेवर में वोट कराने में?
नहीं, देखिए, इससे बीजेपी को फायदा हुआ इसमें तो कोई शक ही नहीं है। साधारण लोगों से बात करते थे तो वो कहते थे कि नहीं, खट्टर से तो ये नायब सैनी बहुत अच्छे हैं। लेकिन ये सोच लेना कि उससे सारी चीजें नेगेट हो गई हैं, ऐसा होता नहीं है। अगर किसान आंदोलन का असर ना हुआ होता तो कांग्रेस ग्राउंड मैदान में ही नहीं होती, कांग्रेस मुकाबले में कहीं होती ही नहीं। भाई, 2019 के लोकसभा इलेक्शन में कांग्रेस 30% पीछे थी, 58%, 58% टू द बीजेपी एंड ओनली 28% टू द कांग्रेस। तो उसके बाद कांग्रेस अगर 2024 के नेशनल इलेक्शन में बीजेपी के बराबर आई, उससे 1% आगे निकली, तो किसान आंदोलन की वजह से था, रेसलर्स की वजह से था, ये जो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट के इश्यूज थे उस सब की वजह से था। जो नायब सिंह सैनी का कंट्रीब्यूशन था कि उन्होंने खट्टर जी के बारे में जो पर्सनल एक सेंस ऑफ अनईज और डिसअफेक्शन हो गया था, क्या चीफ मिनिस्टर है, बहुत इनसेंसिटिव है, बहुत सीरियस नहीं है, उसको उन्होंने नेगेट किया। और वो बीजेपी को जरूर हेल्प किया होगा क्योंकि ग्राउंड पे सेंस था कि नहीं, खट्टर को हटा के ठीक किया। मुझे उस वक्त लग रहा था कि इतना लेट किया है कि अब क्या फर्क पड़ेगा, लेकिन लोगों को फर्क पड़ा, ये बात सही है।
सर, बात 36 बिरादरी की होती है हरियाणा में, एंड व्हेन इट कम्स टू कांग्रेस वी सी दैट देयर इज नो लीडरशिप फ्रॉम ओबीसी कैटेगरीज, पंजाबी, खत्री, ऐसा कोई बड़ा नाम कांग्रेस की तरफ से मुझे इन जो कास्ट सेगमेंट्स है इनमें नहीं दिखता है जो कि बीजेपी के फेवर में वोट करता है। तो इज इट हाई टाइम फॉर कांग्रेस टू रीथिंक देयर स्ट्रैटेजी एंड वो जो एक लीडरशिप है उन कम्युनिटीज में भी अपनी बनाने की जरूरत है अभी?
Now, again, assuming that whatever we witness is the real outcome, I would say, of course, yes, need to introspect, need to think, and the Congress would need to rebuild Haryana Congress now. And in that rebuilding, it will have to ensure that what Rahul Gandhi says is actually reflected in the composition of the party, namely Chhattis Biradri. That is sometimes not seen. Now it has to be seen. And in that sense, the equation of Haryana politics in this third verdict, it may have decisively changed. Haryana, which has witnessed um, Jat leaders, Jat chief ministers almost throughout its first 50 years, is a place where now uh, it would be clear that you have to create a larger coalition in order to win.
Okay. And one last question, sir. How do you see the BJP government from now on? The mistakes they have made, they have learned from it, and what kind of governance you are expecting from BJP for next 5 years, considering all those mistakes they have done in last one decade?
Um, in Haryana, I expect BJP government to fulfill its promises. They have made a long list of promises in manifesto. Some of the promises may have been made on the assumption that they won't have to come back to power, but now that they are, they will have to fulfill it. So all those promises need to be fulfilled. I don't know if it will make much of a difference to the central government and how it's used. I fear that Mr. Modi might see this as one more reflection of his popularity, and his non responsiveness may actually go up further after today's verdict.
Okay. Sir, any two, three, wins or upsets from Haryana elections today you must have seen. नहीं ये तो expect नहीं किया था. अगर if you could just share.
Oh, yeah, there are just so many. There are just so many, especially in I would say Hisar and Bhiwani area. There are many places where I expected the opposition to win. So it surprises me. I'll not name one or two places, but there are
Okay,
many,
just
many
one
places.
last question, sir. Sorry for extending it. The alliances BSP, INLD, JJP, ASP, and Aam Aadmi Party not coming along, with Congress. How big a damage it was for the Congress because both proved to be the vote cutter for Congress only.
I don't know how much of vote cutter was Aam Aadmi Party. We should look at it, and how much of those votes were Aam Aadmi Party's votes, which could have been transferred to Congress. I don't think that was the case in many constituencies. JJP was, in any case, decimated. It's only Inelo and BSP which have got some votes. Now, they were unlikely to ally with Congress anyway. You know, BSP has had its votes. So, yes, JJP and BSP they have played a role. But on balance, I think opposition, non-Congress, non-BJP parties have got much smaller share of votes than they had last time. Last time, uh, these third parties, other than Congress and BJP, had 35% votes. Now I think they have a little less than 80%. They have less than 20%. So in that sense, others are much less relevant in Haryana politics than before.
Thank you so much, Yogendra sir, for sparing time. And I know that things have not gone the way we as a journalist, even I went to more than 10, 12 seats, and I sensed that wind coming in favor of Congress. But results are unusual and unexpected. Still, we'll have to accept the mandate. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.